is made shall prosper. Thank you for joining in. I'll wait for a few more peoples to come in. You are looking at my new cover. I updated my book, gave it a new face. Thanks for joining in, Michelle. Let me out. Today, I want to talk to it tonight. I want to talk about facing your Goliath. 4 people is enough. Hi, guys. Good evening. How you guys are doing? I was inspired to do a broadcast on facing your giant after speaking. Hey, after I was speaking with a new client, I haven't met with her in person yet, but I'm going to meet with her next week. We were talking on the phone, and so she was talking about a lot of things that she was trying to overcome, and one of them was moving and getting out of the ghetto, if you will, because she said she lives in a very bad neighborhood. And so I started to share with her my testimony. And so she's like, I just know we just meant, I believe God sent you. Because I overcame some things that she's trying to overcome. And so, you know, God knows how to, at the right time, connect you with the right people. And that's just that divine nature of God. It's awesome. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about, I always say quick. I know when I do my scopes, it end up being, I'm trying not to be too long this time. Facing your Goliath. And I have to write my points down so I won't lose focus. Fight or flight. Hi, thanks for joining, Big T 430. What you face when you're in the midst of a situation that's tumultuous or that's hard, and you know your body responds to stress in different ways. It depends on one, where your faith is. It depends on a lot of challenges. It could be things that you've gone through when you were young and you never learned how to cope well with stress or situations. Maybe you was the type of person that ran from everything, or you never learned how to develop coping skills, good, you know, strong coping strategies. So what you tend to do is run from situations, but you never develop that way. You don't build good coping skills when you do that. And part of my job as a mental health professional is to help my clients learn how to cope with stress. To cope, a lot of them are not good with immediate changes in events, quick transitions, and so they freak out. They don't know what to do, and so I come in and give them the interventions that they need. So I just really wanted to talk about that a little bit. And I have a chapter in my book actually called Facing Your Giant. I'm just going to turn Fred Hammond down a little bit. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. Amen. Okay, I don't want it to be too loud. Anyway, so Facing Your Goliath. I was going to read a little bit excerpt from my book, chapter 10 of my book, Let Me Out. This is the older cover, which I was proud of because I did it myself. And you saw the new cover earlier. But chapter 10 called Facing Your Goliath. So really, you know, I'm talking about David and Goliath. For you, those of you who know the story of David and Goliath, the point I really want to bring out is that when your situation, like I said, seems so big, and how can I get over this? I only have little. I don't have much to overcome this thing. And David, well, we're going to read into it. The little that he had to take out this giant, and it's more than just what he had. It's what was behind him and what he was built on and who he was relying on. But I'm going to read a little bit. So I said, well, it's not easy facing a murderer, a Goliath. That's what he was. Part of the Philistine army, your adversary, and your enemies. I am talking about the people or thing that almost took you out of here. And some of you went through some things in 2015 that almost took you out of here. And I'm not necessarily talking about physical death. It could be spiritual death. It could be emotional or psychological, where you almost lost it, almost had a nervous breakdown. So it could be anything like that just made you almost, I give up. Talking about something that almost took you out of here, physically, emotionally, psychologically. That thing that almost crippled you, harassed you, tormented you. Because some of us are being tormented by a lot of the things that we're dealing with and we're facing. Forever reminding you, like a flashcard, just keep coming, right? That obstacle. And so what happens is, this is the time you can decide to go into fight mode or to flight. You can take flight and leave, but you will never be able to stand and deal with situations. other situation that will come. Or you can learn to stand still and fight. And fight doesn't necessarily mean doing something physical. It's just your posture, how you decide to handle, how you decide to respond to this situation. Amen. And a lot of it has to do with our support and people around us. But that internal strength, that internal your internal coping skills, the strategies, what you've learned. A lot of us went through some hell and high water, and that alone taught us how to stand, how to fight, how to say, even though we're scared inside, even though we like inside, outside, we're like this. Come on, I'm ready. Come on, I'm ready. Let's just get out. You ready to deal with it just get over it now. Let's come on, let's go. And see, every fight that you have like that, actually you develop more and more and more. You become stronger and stronger, and you don't necessarily invite the demons, but sometimes you go, come on, I'm ready now, because you feel like I done built up myself now. I'm ready, You're not just going to take me out of here. I decided to stand and fight. I decided that I'm going to live and not die. So whatever it is, you decide to fight back. You decide to speak to that thing. You decide to speak to that mountain. Be thou removed and cast into the sea. So, and not knowing how long it will take. But see, in the meantime, what you do is feed yourself. The Word of God. Feed yourself. Things positive. Things to keep you strong. Amen. So let me just read a little bit more, the excerpt. So, that thing that crippled you, harassed you, did the torment, that lied, and lying hurts. And I remember one time somebody lied on me. That thing tore me apart because I try my best to live as an honest person and full of integrity. And when somebody lied, that thing cut me to the core. More than anything else, the lying, the deception. I'm not a deceit. That's not my spirit. That's not me. So because then you start thinking about all the people that's going to believe this person had influence and a title, and you start thinking about it's the lying that hurts. It kills you. It's like that. You insulting my character. And so now you start thinking about how am I going to prove myself? And let me tell you, God is so strategic. He just told me to pray and give it to him. Actually, pray and give it to him. He's going to take care of it. Every tongue that rises against him shall be condemned. So anyway, every tongue that rises against me, because God is in me, shall be condemned. Let God, give the battle to him. That thing hurt so bad. I just remember sitting in the car crying. I was at the back of somebody's car around. I was just crying. I was like, God, I can't believe that thing tore me up. So even that can tear you up and cripple you, where you feel like you can't move. You can't go forward. And you feel like you have to solve all the problems, and you don't. So, but this is how you feel in the midst of it. That's that flight mode, That's part of that flight mode. So David faced his enemy, the giant, what appears to be bigger, and opposition. Yes, it's opposition, and for sometimes it can appear to be bigger. It can be magnified more than what it really is. And what happens is when you're in that flight mode, you can't think right. You become confused. So you don't know how your responses is just like minimal, and you don't know what to do. So you start thinking all the negative stuff start coming to your mind. So look at what he used to take out Goliath. Most would consider 5 pieces of rocks in a slingshot as insignificant and inadequate to fight a giant, because it is. It's an inadequate. They were inadequate weapons to defend and protect oneself, right? But I remember Jesus saying that if we have faith the size of a mustard seed, we can speak, and I said it earlier, to a mountain, be thou removed and cast into the sea. So in other words, we can speak our faith, and we can speak the word of God over the situation, not knowing how long it's going to go. It's going to dissipate. However, we still going to stand there and keep on speaking and professing. Amen, because we don't gave it over to God, right? Be thou removed and cast into the sea. These are, the key word here is faith. Faith. God is still giving me the strength, because remember, I'm talking about, this is my own testimony in the book. God is still giving me the strength to do things even while I feel afraid. So even while inside, it could be speaking, speaking somewhere. Especially, when I first started speaking and preaching. Oh my God. I remember they used to have platform services, and they always called me first to speak. or a line, a panel, and it's all, every time I'm invited to one of these things, I'm either the first or the last. Like, oh, I always gotta be the first one. But it's funny. When I decide to fight in my mind, I'm gonna fight this. I'm not gonna run. Inside though, I wanna take off. I wanna hide, go in the bathroom. I don't feel good. I can't do this. I go through all that in my mind, right? But I pray, I say, okay, we're going to do this. I make a decision in my mind. It's the reframing, it's the renewing, it's the changing of the mind and how you perceive things. And so when I start doing that, I start feeling my strength come and say, okay, you know what, Cheryl, we can do this. That's what self-talk comes into play. We can do this thing because I'm not by myself. I'm not by myself. So, you know, I start remembering that and say, you know, I'm not by myself. I have strength. I have help. I have my Father with me. Okay? So, I've experienced plenty of times that feeling of wanting to just take off, come up with all kinds of excuses, and a lot of us do that, right? We try to come up with excuses when we ask to do something. How about this? You prayed about something that you really wanted to do, or an opportunity you really wanted to come to pass, and now that the opportunity has presented itself, your body just want to shut down. That stress, it's pressure, and your body just want to shut down and say, oh, maybe I wasn't ready. I gotta get a little more time. And I know even with doing these scopes, I've heard people say, people who haven't did live broadcasting yet, I'm telling you, you gotta do it. You just gotta step out and do it with all of the mistakes. This is what one of my brand strategists, Sade Wyatt, tells a lot of the people in the groups and those who follow her, including me. If you haven't, just go and do it. It's not about being, look, I'm not being paid thousands of dollars to do this. I think I would feel more pressured, or maybe again, that could be a motivator, whatever. But just relax and be yourself. So I'm like, just relaxing and being myself. Sharing some good news, something positive, I hope will be a blessing to somebody, so, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And you know how you can change your perspective? Just think different. This is how I deal with stuff. You know what? I'm just talking to friends. I'm just talking to people out there. To me, it's kind of easier because I'm not looking at a crowd, visual crowd that's there. So you can kind of forget. You're looking at yourself. You're looking at yourself. It's like looking in the mirror and just talking. And that's it. That's it. So it's changing the way you see things, the way you view things. Change the way you think, change the behavior. Cognitive therapy, right? Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole page. I'm just going to get to the end of this one. I can still hear the inner voices that say, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to achieve things. I'm not going to overcome. So them self-defeated, voices, of course, you tear that all down. But those are the Goliaths sometimes that we deal with, and they keep us from moving forward. So we just got to learn to stay in that fight mode. So, okay, so this is not from the excerpt from my book. I was reminded, too, when I was writing down my notes about how sometimes when you're going through tribulations and certain things that just seem like it's too big and too great for you to handle, and like I said, all you have is little things, you feel like you don't have what it takes to really overcome this battle or to face this opposition. And I thought about David, I thought about Apostle Paul when he was on a ship, on a voyage, headed to, I forgot what particular island, but they actually ended up on the island of Malta when it became shipwrecked, and it said some men held on to planks and some men held on to pieces. For those who can swim, they swam the shore. For those who couldn't, they had to hold on to what they have. Like I said, the word says, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed. So some of them had to hold on to planks. That would have been me, because I can't swim. I would have been grabbing straws, planks, pieces, somebody's feet, whatever it took to survive to try to make it to shore. So even though they had small parts and pieces, and Paul gave this the command, they had faith. They didn't have time to go into flight mode, to take off and then drown and panic and lose control. And see, this is what happens. So develop healthy strategies, develop coping strategies. Even if you don't have it, it's not innate. You can learn. I teach this to my clients every day, strategies, interventions to help them develop the ability to deal with stress, to deal with pressure, because in life, you're going to deal with stress. You're going to deal with pressure on your job, at home, in your family, friends, co-workers, life challenges, oppositions, all kinds of things. Anything can happen. Events can change at the last minute. What do? You can't go into panic mode. And if you're a leader or you feel like you're called to be a leader, you have to learn how to manage stress. You have to learn how to manage your emotions. And I recently just created a free 5 ways you can manage stress and emotions. It's a free 1-page guide that you can actually, you can, if you email me at getwhylifeback.com, I will immediately send you the guide, and it tells you what is it? It's 5 ways to help you manage your emotions and stress. Because I would say manage emotions, but the same thing. Emotional regulation is learning how to self-calm, how to self-regulate yourself. And I have 5 strategies, so easy. Some of them you even heard of already. One of them is just doing the deep breathing. Many of us heard of that, but we don't apply it. And I go into how you should do it 3 times a day. When you get up in the morning, in your bed, the first thing you should do is at least take 3 deep breaths into your nose slowly, counting to 7 or 10 seconds. See what happens when you count in your mind, you're thinking about the numbers and you forget about the problem. That's the, I don't want to say trick, but that's how can you change it. You deter your thoughts from concentrating on what's bothering you to the numbers. And I did this with my 6-year-old client. I had her play with a little puzzle, and she's easily stressed and she's easily fearful. She's scared of any little thing. She'll jump, So I'm teaching her how to function in the midst of something, a chaotic situation or things going around her, because she's easily distracted, and she's, like a lot of my clients have ADHD. So, and sometimes I do this ball exercise when people are busy doing stuff around us. And I saw this on a video. It's excellent, helping kids that have autism or ADHD, high functioning autism. And the man was throwing a ball to each of the participants. And so what he was teaching them is to focus on him and focus on the ball, even though there's a circle of people around them, each of them, well, they're all in a circle, but as he gave the ball to one person, everybody was in the circle doing things. So they had to learn to focus on that one task at a time and not get so easily distracted. I thought it was awesome, so I tried it with my client one day in a house when there's a lot of people over. Purposely and intentionally went into the living room where all the family and friends were and threw the ball right there in the middle of the living room on the floor. I said, look at me, I'm throwing the ball. She did good because she saw the video first, so it kind of prepared her. And I was showing her the difference. I said, you can do this. You can do this. You can focus and you can develop the ability to concentrate on one task at a time. So this is what we did, and she actually liked the exercise. But anyway, where was I with managing stress and everything, and just learning how to relax and self-calm and regulate yourself. So the deep breathing, counting 7 to 10 seconds is great, because after 10 seconds, I can't remember all of the data now, but I know it shows that about when you get into like 7 to 10 seconds, you get more oxygen to your brain, and enough oxygen to your brain where you actually can start to calm down, and the signals that go from your brain send those neurotransmitters and those good messages to your body, and increases your dopamine and your serotonin levels, the hormones that's responsible for what I said, the first one was the dopamine is responsible for helping you to self-calm and self-soothe yourself. And the serotonin does something similar. Let me see, I have some information real quick on that. Let me see, where did I put it? Right here. Right. The dopamine, the body's ability to calm down, self-soothe the brain, and block pain. Awesome. Dopamine is said to originate from the amino acid, folate, and iron. So that's why it's so essential for us to take our vitamins. And I tell myself that too. If I might skip a day and forget to take my multi, because I have a lot of those vitamins in it. But I also have a separate bottle of iron. So amino acid, folate, and iron can help you build up the ability to calm your body down. It helps the brain do that, to release those hormones that's needed to do that. And the serotonin is a chemical produced by nerve cells and is responsible for maintaining a healthy balance of emotions, mood, and the lack of serotonin is said to lead to depression. It is said to lead to depression. So that's why they tell you to exercise and walk and all these things help you to feel good and get these hormones and get these things released throughout the body and be able to calm yourself down. So just wanted to share that a little bit, because this is what you need in that fight mode. You need all this stuff to work. You need your brain to work, because see, when you're in the fight mode, you develop also an ability to problem solve. Now you can think clearly because you're calm. You know, it's a fact that when you, a psychological and a physiological fact, when you are so stressed and you're so angry, and I think I talked about this before, so I don't want to stay on it too long, it literally, when you're in a high stress level constantly, it literally affects your short-term memory, where you are not, it's hard for you and difficult for you to remember a lot of things that happened recently, because, I don't want to get into that. That's the whole brain thing with the amygdala and the hippocampus and all that stuff. The hippocampus is no longer working as good because your amygdala is firing off missiles and everything, and so you can no longer think clearly. You can't remember certain things, and so that's why your body needs to calm down. Calm your brain down, calm your body down. And it's funny, I'm sure a lot of you experienced this. Everything starts coming back to you. You're able to problem solve. You're able to come up with solutions to the problem that you're dealing with now. And you learn not to worry about things that you can't change, that's in the future, that has not happened yet. That's called worry. You learn to not worry about what you cannot control, but you try to deal with what you're dealing with now. If you can do something, if you can't, then you're able to come up with a solution. Guess what? When you're so angry and you stay in a constant mode of worry and frustration and fear, I mean, staying there. I'm not saying you're not going to feel it. Trust me. I feel frustration. I feel fear. What am I going to do? But I'm saying if you stay in that mode, you'll never be able to come up with solutions or think or problem solve. Problem solve may be just contacting somebody, but you can't think clearly. You become impulsive, and you may even go into self-sabotaging already a stressful situation and make it worse. So I'm telling you things that will help you deal. Stay in the fight mode. Face that Goliath. Face that giant. Face those things that just seem out of your control and you can't handle. Guess what? Because if you don't stay in control and you allow your situation, environment to dictate your behavior, you don't give up and throw in the towel. So anyway, I'm trying to help somebody today. So download. I'll send it to you. I'll download it. I'll send it to you. Not download it. I'll email it to you so you can download it and save it. And it's a PDF. So it's a one-page guide on 5 ways to manage emotions and stress and stay in balance and managing really those low emotions, which includes anger and sadness and depression. Not necessarily clinical depression, but also depression, sadness, and all of that stuff that we all battle with sometimes. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. I think I'm basically finished. It was it. I just wanted to, because I just thought it was important when I was speaking to the young lady and she was just talking about all the things she was facing, and I shared with her, I've been where you are, girl. I said, I've been homeless, needed a place to stay, because she talked about where she lives is very dangerous, and part of the environment is contributing to her depression. And so one of the big battles that her Goliath is her neighborhood. I need to get out of this neighborhood. That's one of the things I need to deal with. And so I started talking about just a little bit things that I did to put myself in a better position while I was empowered enough to do things that she wanted to do. One of the things she wanted to do is become a hairdresser. So I shared with her my story about going back to school, even when I dropped out, going back to school and getting my cosmetology license. And what I did every day, I said, because it's not easy going back to school after you're 30-something years old, and and you're starting all over again. There's a lot of fears and feelings of insecurity and a lot of old stuff that you think you was over try to come back up. And so you got to battle with all of that. And that stuff will make you want to take flight. So I was trying to give her strategies to, and this is on the phone before we met with her, to kind of stay in the fight. I said, you know what? It was divine for us to connect. It was divine for us to connect. So I just thank God for that connection. But you guys, be blessed. Have a good evening. I hope this was somewhat beneficial to somebody out there in Periscope land. And I will come back to you soon. I want to start, I won't say Skyping. I just got off the phone with someone who was Skyping. I want to start scoping more on this particular channel account because I do scope more on my other one. But anyway, you guys have a good evening, and I will talk to you soon. Don't forget, Facing Your Goliath. And also too, this is not, I wasn't getting on a scope to sell anything, but if you are interested in getting the book, Let Me Out, that I've written, you can just go on Amazon. I have a special sale for $2.99. It's on Kindle for $2.99. 250 pages, and I promise it will bless you, and you can share it as a gift and it be a blessing to somebody else. And I think it's great at the beginning of the year to face those things, that you overcome those things that you dealt with in 2015, that you declare that this is the year of promise and purpose and destiny and progression, and you are going to do it, and you're going to step out on faith. Doesn't matter what size faith. It's not about the size. It's just about having faith, period, and let yourself out. Things that you dreamed, things that you envision, things that you desire, passions, good passions. I have to be very careful. That you want to walk into purpose, unfulfilled visions and goals. What's coming to me? Oh, things that you have started and you did not complete it. So you want to complete tasks. You want to complete things that you've started. Writing that book, starting that blog, getting on Periscope. What else? Anything. Do it this year. Do it this year. Surround yourself around people who will push you. And so I'm coming to push you because I am a spiritual midwife. That's what my coaching business is about. Get your life back. Because I had a vision one day that I went into the enemy's camp. I think I mentioned it before, but it may help somebody. Went into the enemy's camp and took back everything that he had stole and that he was trying to steal, after God revealed to me what vices he had up his sleeve. God said he will not leave you ignorant. So I pray, God, show me. I don't want to be oblivious to the enemy's tactics. I don't never want to be blind to it. Show me. I don't care how much it hurts, because I want to be ahead of the game so I can calm myself, pray, relax, and be able to problem solve. I can hear the solution. See, not only naturally will it bless you to try to remain in a calm state where you're able to fight, but it allows you to hear the voice of God because you sit still. And God will start downloading solutions, problem-solving strategies, okay? And you will get revelation like never before, like, my God. But when we're so busy, it's hard to hear and it's hard to receive information. So it's so important to keep your body in a regulated state, keep that mind, keep those emotions regulated as much as possible. And when you practice, get those strategies. You know why? Because I want you to practice those 5 strategies in my one-page guide, 5 ways to manage stress and emotions. Remember to go to getyLifeback.com, sign up my email list, or you can go to my Facebook page, Get Your Life Back Inspirational Life Coaching. Get Your Life Back Inspirational Life Coaching. Drop me your email and I will send you those 5 strategies. Not the goal and not the trick. I hate to use that word trick. But the key is, there you go, it's a better word. If you practice utilizing those 5 strategies before you get in the stress mode, before you dealing with pressure, you develop a good habit of learning how to calm yourself down. So that way, when situations come that are out of your control, thank you for the hearts that are out of your control, guess what? You already know what to do. Your body knows what to do. Your brain knows what to do. You practice this thing over and over again. So I have to remind my clients, what did we go over last time? What are the 5 strategies? I did it today with a client. I said, name me 5 strategies. I was like, come on, let's go. 5 strategies. No, actually, I actually list more because I've been working with her since last year for months. Give it to me. She was a kid. And so she remembers some things, sometimes avoid it. Sometimes you have to avoid. Sometimes you have to leave the situation because you need to think. Because it's better to leave the situation than become violent. Violence don't solve it do not solve any problems. You'll make the situation worse, right? So I said, we can't do that, right? We can't go punch people in the face. You can't always get violent when you're in a situation. That's just not the real world, baby doll. So avoidance sometimes is good. Avoidance is bad when you're running from stuff all the time and you don't know how to deal. See, that's the flight mode. That's a flight. But sometimes fighting includes avoiding, leaving a situation for a moment to gather your thoughts and think. Calm yourself down because you may be real angry, right? That's one strategy. I don't have that in that 5 list, but that's one strategy. So we talked about this today. But I'm saying the main thing is just to practice doing it now. Practice those deep. I want to go back to the deep breathing. When you get up in the morning, when you sit up in the bed, breathe. Thanks for the hearts. I so appreciate them. Breathe in your nose, out your mouth. Count to 7. If 7 is too much, because in the beginning, you may not be used to holding in your breath for 7 seconds. So count to 5. Count to 3. Start somewhere and then release slowly, just getting that oxygen into your brain, and you getting the oxygen into your cells. And then you'll start to become regulated and you'll feel the difference. And when you do it, let me put this phone here for a minute. When you do it, have your feet flat on the floor, have your arms relaxed in your lap. Relax your muscles. You have to relax completely. If you have to close your eyes and think about something, maybe you can put on some music or something. Maybe you can focus on something in the room that's not so distracting, and just take the deep breaths. You'll feel yourself start to regulate. You will. And so that's one of the strategies in the guide that I created. Today, actually, I created it early. So please go to getwhylifeback.com and download that. Send your email and I'll email it to you. But anyway, I've been on here longer than I said I was. I told you every time I do a scope, I say I'm just going to be on here quick. Never turns out to be quick. They call me the long-winded preacher. Anyway, guys, have a good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will try to come back tomorrow or Monday with part 2, reading another excerpt from my book, Let Me Out. Talk to you guys later. Good night.